Well, 7th grade students, here are your guide notes for 1.6, subtracting integers. Our objective here is to learn to subtract integers in an efficient manner. How is it possible to take away a negative? That's our essential question for the day. Make sure you're writing your name at the top of your guided notes in practice. That makes sure that you receive credit for the work that you are doing for your class. It also helps me make sure that you are getting your grade as well. So here we have our number line. It might not always be the easiest to use a number line, but we're going to use it. Might always not have a number line as well. So we're going to look at some ways that we can subtract without it. You can change a subtraction problem into an addition problem by what we call as adding the opposite. Now it's important to know that these steps that we're going to talk about are only for subtraction problems. I mean only. Make sure you write that down as well. Our steps in doing this is that the first number stays the same. It's always going to stay the same no matter which type of subtraction problem we are doing. Then we're going to change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. We're going to just make it into an addition symbol. After that, we're going to change the second number to whatever its opposite will be. Okay? So let's look at some. I don't have them written down, but I'm going to ask that you write them down on the side here. If we have 5 minus 3, simple problem. I can make it into, I keep this first number the same. I change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. And I do whatever the opposite is here. 5 plus a negative 3. If I know that I'm having 5 and then I give it negative 3, I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 2. Now that's a fairly simple problem. Let's change it up a little bit, make it a little bit more difficult. If I have negative 11 minus 5, let's try to solve that. Again, we're going to keep the first number the same. I keep negative 11. I'm going to change my subtraction symbol to an addition sign. My opposite of a positive 5 is a negative 5. I now have negative 11 plus negative 5. If I have two negatives, I know they're going to be a negative. Negative 11 plus negative 5. I know 5 and 11 give me 16. I change my subtraction problem into an addition problem and end up with the correct answer. Let's look at the ones that we have here, A, B, and C. We're going to subtract these problems, but we first need to change them to addition problems by following those steps. I'm going to keep this first one. That's step 1. The first number stays the same. I'm going to change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. And then I'm going to change my positive 4 into a negative 4. I now have negative 7 plus negative 4. If I go back 4 more, or give negative 7, negative 4, I'm going to end up with negative 11. You're going to run into some other special ones where you have a subtraction sign next to a negative sign. We can still do the same concept with this as well. We're going to call these Kung Fu math, these problems. Please write that down as well. If I have, I'm going to keep my first one the same with 8. I still change my subtraction symbol to an addition sign. I change my negative 5 to a positive 5 because I'm making it and changing it to its opposite. 8 plus positive 5. 8 and 5 make 13. Now this also works if your first number is still a negative. It's still all going to be the same process. Kung Fu math. I'll explain why it's called Kung Fu math here in a second. I keep the first number the same. I change my subtraction symbol to an addition sign. I flip my -3 to be its opposite. I change it to its opposite. Opposite of -3 is +3. -6 plus 3. If you want to look at the number line, you can know that you are going from -6 up 1, 2, and 3. I am now at -3. The way that we call these Kung Fu Math, and the reason it's called that is because we can slash both these to become positives. And chop them or slash like you would in Kung Fu, for instance. So that's why they are changing to positives, or why we call it Kung Fu Math, I should say. Let's go to the bottom two examples, A and B. Sometimes you'll have expressions with a variable that you'll need to change and add or substitute in for the variable that's given. So in this situation, I have 14 minus b, and b is supposed to be -3. So I'm going to first substitute and rewrite it out for us. 14 minus -3. Now I'm going to rewrite it by following my opposite, adding the opposite steps. So I'm going to still follow these same steps here. 14 is the first number staying the same. The second one is I'm going to change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. Third, I'm going to change my second number to its opposite. I'm going to change my -3 to +3. Or, this is a Kung Fu Math problem, I'm going to slash both these to become positive. Okay? Or addition signs. 14 plus 3 is 17. Let's go ahead down to B. I have -7 minus q when q is -15. Let's rewrite it, or substitute it in, I should say first. Let's substitute. -7 minus -15 equals. We're going to rewrite this equation now. If I rewrite it as -7, the first number is staying the same. That's my first step. My second step, my subtraction sign's being changed to a positive. Third step, the second number is going to be changed to its opposite. The opposite of -15 is +15. I can now simply add. -7 plus +15 gives me +8. Make sure that on the second page you're completing the summary. In your own words, explain how to change a subtraction problem to an addition problem. Make sure you're writing a complete sentence here. If you have any questions or key points, this is the location to ask. Down here, for your practice problems for the day, I need you to rewrite each of those 3 steps from your guided notes. And then you'll need to solve 4 through 13 using our adding the opposite and adding the opposite steps. Make sure you're showing your work for all of these equations and questions. Thank you, guys.